James Well, the Boxing Source here with another video. In this video here is to talk about the result of the fight between Daniel Jacobs and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. that was at the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix. And as most of y'all have saw or have heard, that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. quit. That has been the story of his career, quitting. And after having a little bit of a performance in the first couple of rounds against Daniel Jacobs here, I mean man, he goes ahead and he pretty much just puts his guard up. He throws a couple of punches. Yeah, he threw a few hard right hands, but he ends up quitting on his stool. He says it's his hand, and you had his trainer Freddie Roach say that it was his nose being broken, that he couldn't breathe out of his nose, but just ended up being a bad result all around. Daniel Jacobs does get the win by TKO, and the crowd was very upset. A lot of the crowd went there to see Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, and this is the thanks that they get for supporting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. This was, Chavez's second fight this year. He hadn't fought in 2018 and for a good majority of 2017 after his loss to Canelo Alvarez. And this is basically what we saw coming from him going into this particular bout. The bout was supposed to be at 168-pound limit, which is limit for super middleweight. He got in there with the weight of 172 and 3/4 pounds. And going into this particular fight, going into the ring, he kind of looked like a solid 180, 185, if not 190. And to, basically, do that shows the amount of unprofessionalism that Chavez Jr. has, expressed over his professional career. And I mean, you kind of saw that with him being, overweight, coming in at 4 or 5 pounds overweight, and even then he looked pretty much, I wouldn't necessarily say lethargic, but he pretty much reached his limit as far as like what he could lose at that particular moment. So he pretty much knew that he was going to go into this fight and at least 180 pounds plus. And he looked like a cruiserweight in that ring against Daniel Jacobs. And that was what Daniel Jacobs had to deal with. And, even though Jacobs took a couple of punches from Chavez, he was able to, make some adjustments here and there and then try to get the upper hand in this particular bout. But once he got that upper hand, well, Chavez Jr. does what he does and checks out. So that's pretty much what you had there over at the Talking Stick Resort Arena in Phoenix. Daniel Jacobs gets the win by stoppage, and Chavez Jr. quits again. And the reaction by the crowd was throwing a whole bunch of beer and sodas at the ring and throwing it at Chavez Jr. for how he has treated the sport of boxing. So that's what we got in reference to this particular topic. You can subscribe to the Boxing Source here on YouTube. You can catch the Boxing Source radio show live on Blog Talk Radio Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or catch the podcast on Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcast app is. On that note, folks, I'm out. Peace.